Welcome to 7th Circle Gaming. Today on the channel we're going to analyze the game Broken Roads. We'll get to the video proper in just a moment, but of course we are going to start with full disclosure. If you're interested in reading through all this, just pause the video now. If you'd rather not, just let the video run. We've chosen this particular video clip to illustrate a couple of main points. First of all, Broken Roads is an incredibly Australian game, so much so that the developers have included an Australian to English dictionary for us. Simply highlight one of the yellow or orangish words, and an English translation will be provided. In addition to that, we also want to illustrate what one of the conversations looks like in the game. Finally, we want to show off a bit of what the game world is going to look like. In this second video clip, we want to illustrate what combat looks like in Broken Roads. Combat is pretty much what players that are already familiar with turn-based combat would expect. However, it does seem that the game emphasizes ideal range more than other games do. In addition to that, we also want to illustrate what the game world looks like and the user interface. The user interface is centered around a couple of main areas of the screen: the top center of the screen, the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, bottom center, and bottom right-hand corners of the screen. Some of these will only be active during combat. Before we move on to our first proper chapter, let's take a quick look again at the game world. From what we can see here, everything is pretty standard post-apocalyptic stuff. We have the usual corrugated metal and scrap iron, sandbags, the other just sort of general flotsam and jetsam littered around the map. And that's all the gameplay footage we have to share with you on this particular video. So let's now move on to our first proper chapter, which is, as it always is, immersion. Here the game has earned a score of 10 out of 15, which is frankly very good. Throughout all of our evaluation sessions, we could not discern that the game was relying on any one element to create immersion more than the other. Moving on now to difficulty, where the game has earned a score of 2.5 out of 15, which is actually quite low. The game definitely prefers a mouse and keyboard over a gamepad from what we've experienced. In addition to that, we would add that the game does not have any difficulty settings as such, so the difficulty is going to be impacted more by the upgrade paths that the player selects. And now on to Lasting Appeal, where the game has earned a frankly again very low score of 3 out of 15. Since the game lacks any additional difficulty settings, we cannot include that here. So the primary drivers of Lasting Appeal and repeated playthroughs are going to be the story, the setting, and the turn-based combat, in addition to the possibility of selecting different options. Overall, Broken Roads has earned a score of 5.16, below the average score of 7.5 out of 15. And now for some highly subjective statements, so please have your salt handy. Our playthrough as the game as a trader was much more interesting than any of the other playthroughs that we experienced. In addition to that, we would add that regardless, the game does require a bit of self-immersion. Regardless of which starting class the player selects, we do not suggest utilizing a gamepad. And on that final highly subjective note, that's it for this video from 7th Circle Gaming. Congratulations to everyone who watched all the way to the end. We look forward to seeing you on our next video, and until then, go out and have the day that you all deserve.